if the Olympia title isn't where he can use me the most, then I don't want it. I don't want it. So, yeah.
What's going on, you guys? Nick here with Nick Strength and Power. I've got a couple of interesting stories for you guys today. The first story that I've got for you guys today, the latest physique update from Ramon Dino. After just competing in the Olympia this past weekend and placing 4th, he's going to be competing in this weekend's Brazil Pro in the Classic Physique division. Now, realistically, Ramon is the only top Olympian doing this show, so I think he's the clear #1 front runner in this. He's the clear favorite to win this show. And this Brazil Pro is the same show we talked about a couple months ago where they were kind of advertising it to be the Mr. Olympia Brazil because they invited a bunch of athletes to come right after the Olympia. They posted like some marketing material referring to it as the Mr. Olympia Brazil. And they also are doing the Olympia Amateur this weekend as well. But they don't have any open bodybuilding at this show. The two divisions that you're probably really interested in here are the men's classic physique and the men's 212. And coming for 212, there's really not any of the top guys here. Ahmad Ashkanani is probably the favorite in 212, but most of the guys that competed in the Olympia, they're not coming here to compete. And again, there is no open bodybuilding, but just because the Olympia is over does not mean we're done with open bodybuilding for the year. November 9th and the 10th, you've got the Romania Muscle Fest Pro. And then November 16th and 17th, so 1 week after that show, you've got the Prague Pro. Then the first weekend of December, you've got the Big Man Weekend. All those are open bodybuilding shows, and I'm wondering if we'll see Samson do any of those because he's done them in the past after the Olympia. But anyway, back to Ramon. So Ramon was posing at this Brazil Pro. I guess this was kind of like a press conference beforehand. He still looks good. Obviously, he just competed less than a week ago. You can see, really good detail, conditioning in his legs, his hamstrings, his quads. He looks good. And I would imagine even though he placed 4th at the Olympia, he's probably not too stressed, not too concerned about losing this show. Like I said, he's like by far the top guy, highest placer, front runner in this lineup. But I kind of am curious what you guys think the future holds for Ramon Dino. We talked a little bit about how at the Olympia, in classic physique, while Chris Bumstead has remained consistently #1, that #2 spot has changed quite a bit. And all the other placings really have too behind Chris. And now Ramon is out of that #2 spot, and Mike Sommerfeld is in. And that's kind of what I meant in that first video where I said it's not like super apparent that Mike is going to be the next guy in line, even though he was second. I think that second place position has changed so much in classic physique since Chris has been here. Even in the absence of Chris, it seems like whoever was second at the Olympia this year does not necessarily mean they're going to be the top guy at the Olympia next year while Chris is gone. So frankly, I wouldn't count any of these guys out. Not even Ramon, not Urs, not Mike. I think Terrence will be back next year. I wonder if Breon is going to come back too. But those placings change so much, even though Ramon didn't have a great year this year, losing the Arnold Classic to Wesley. Wesley placed 8th at the Olympia, and Ramon still slipped all the way to 4th at the Olympia. What do you guys think the future holds for Ramon? Because now he does have to requalify for the Classic Physique Olympia because he was outside of the top 3. So he's not just doing this show in Brazil for fun. He's doing it out of necessity. If he wants to get back to the Olympia, he has to qualify, and qualifying really early would probably be his best bet. But I'm curious what you guys think. Do you think Ramon is out of that conversation as a potential future Classic Physique Olympia champion because he slipped to 4th looking at his Arnold Classic placing, do you think he's done, or do you think in Classic Physique that those placings change up so much he's still in it, he's still got a shot? Because to me, I just don't think it's clear who the next Classic Physique Olympia champion will be in the absence of Chris. Yes, Mike was second, so in theory he should be next in line, but I feel like it could change so easily. And I think Terrence coming back is something to consider as well. Rough Diesel, I think, will be back next year. And I think that the conversation about Ramon is interesting, whether or not he still has a shot, because he posted kind of a thank you to Chris Bumstead about the legacy that Chris left, and he feels like it's kind of passing a torch to the next generation, which includes Ramon. And he talks about the responsibility they have to carry and honor that torch in the absence of Chris Bumstead. And I just kind of wonder, with this kind of big shakeup this year at the Olympia, who is the next guy? And I think the other question that's kind of interesting too is I've seen a lot of Brazilian fans blaming Ramon's coach, but I wonder, is it his coach's fault or is it a Ramon thing? Does he need a new coach, or maybe he's just not as strict as he needs to be with his prep and his diet? And I say that because I get that his fans are frustrated, but if you look back at the Arnold Classic, he said it was only a 6-week prep because he was on vacation 6 weeks out from the Arnold, so that sounds like more of a Ramon thing than a coaching thing. Now, on the other hand, I thought it was just interesting to show this too, because it's kind of the complete opposite side of the spectrum for Urs Kalecinski. He's chilling. He's having a good time. He's at a rave. He's at a club. He's dancing. He doesn't have to worry about qualifying for the next Olympia. He got, I think, massive redemption with his package at this year's Olympia, and he's already qualified for 2025. So Ramon is in a little bit of a different position. His placings have been slipping. He actually placed worse at the Olympia than he did at the Arnold Classic, and he's finding himself a little bit less and less in the conversation. And I think Urs made a really strong case for his name to be added back to that conversation, because now, in the absence of Chris, if you're just going on last year's Olympia placings, which I think we learned this year, we definitely can't do that because there's been some massive shakeups. But if you're going on this year's Olympia placings, it would be between Urs and Mike for 1 and 2. So Urs is good. He's chilling. He's having fun. And he gets to relax a little bit between now and then. I don't know if he's going to do the Arnold Classic or not, but if he doesn't want to, he doesn't need to. He's good to go. So I just thought this was an interesting clip of Urs and kind of funny and cool. Now, the final story that I wanted to talk about today, I saw this clip going around of Derek Lunsford after the Olympia where he was interviewed backstage. And they've got the captions on there, or the subtitle, "I don't want it," and then Derek retiring. So let me play that clip for you guys here.
If the Olympia title isn't where he can use me the most, then I don't want it. I don't want it. So, yeah.
So honestly, I wanted to talk about this because I felt like it was taken out of context a little bit. And no, I don't think Derek is retiring just because he had a bad run at the Olympia this year and dropped to 3rd. I think we all know that Derek is a very religious guy, and I think really what he was trying to say here was that he believes everything that happens in his life is kind of a God's plan type of thing. And so him not winning the Olympia again this year must have been God's plan, and him being Mr. Olympia again this year wasn't the way that he could best serve God. I really don't think this was in any way an indication that Derek is done competing at all. And frankly, I really would like to see Derek compete throughout the year, maybe at a show like the Arnold Classic, and have a rematch against Samson. Because the thing is, since Derek won the Olympia, he doesn't need to requalify, so he doesn't need to compete. And I know that his strategy last time was to not have to compete throughout the year, so he could focus only on the Olympia. And that has been his reason for not doing the Arnold Classic or other shows in the past. But I think it would be cool to see Derek do what Hottie did When Hottie lost the title, he showed up at the Arnold Classic looking way better than he looked at that prior Olympia. He came back showing people he's hungry, he's not done, and he's getting after it. I would kind of like to see Derek do that same thing, but I kind of doubt that we will. And I said this before, but this is what I really like about Samson Dauda, is I just read an article earlier today from Muscle and Fitness. The title of that article was 2024 Mr. Olympia Samson Dauda reveals he almost quit bodybuilding, and it talks about like prior to the 2022 Olympia. But one of the things that was really interesting in this article is he speaks on competing in the Arnold Classic, and his quote was, "I'm not going to be a one-show guy." And then he says, "I'm never going to disappear for the whole year. In terms of competing at the Arnold," Dauda stated emphatically, "you best believe I'm going to be on that stage." And that's what I like about him. He's always kind of been like that. No matter how good he does at the Olympia, no matter if he won the Arnold Classic or not, he still competes in like these random shows. We're not just talking about doing the Arnold and doing the Olympia. He just does like random shows like France, like Prague, like Romania. He's a very, very active pro, and I'm really glad to see him saying that even now that he's won the Olympia, he will continue to be that way, and we're going to see him throughout the year, and I think that makes it more exciting, and that's why I'm glad he won. And I'm interested to see if the judging standard has changed with Samson winning, because it seems like this was a decision that had less emphasis on conditioning. We heard Jake Wood go on the Cutler cast and talk about how he would like to see the judging have less emphasis on conditioning and more on the shape and the flow, things that Samson really have, and he's also got a ton of size. But I think people that bring that up don't realize, I don't think Jake Wood, well, I know he doesn't have any say over how the show is judged. He just owns the show, but he doesn't own the IFBB, and the IFBB provide the judges for the Olympia. But Samson winning is certainly an interesting moment in Olympia history, because Samson, obviously, very different than Hottie, very different than Derek, and I think it could have gone any way between those three guys, particularly I think between Hottie and Samson, it could have gone any way, but both Hottie and Samson looked better than the last Olympia. I think it was certainly way closer between those three guys than it was at the previous year's Olympia. And honestly, I said this at prejudging, and I still say it today, if they had announced any of those three names, I wouldn't have been surprised, I wouldn't have complained if either Derek, Hottie, or Samson were announced the winner. I could see it going any which way. But I think them going with Samson is interesting, and I think that makes it interesting to see where this goes in the future. Could Samson be the first guy in a while to have a dominant reign and reign for years and win for years? Because he does have such a size advantage and height advantage over Derek and Hottie. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. And that's going to wrap it up for the video today, guys. I hope you did, in fact, enjoy it. Make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel, click that bell notification icon. And as always, I love you guys. Appreciate you guys. Nick Strength and Power, signing out. All right, guys, today's video is brought to you by the Arnold Sports Festival. Go to their website, arnoldsports.com. Buy some merch, buy some tickets for next year. Watch the replay of last year's live stream for free, and look forward to and anticipate another live stream in 2025.
I was born a bodybuilder and I will die a bodybuilder. This is the #1 bodybuilding show in the world. It was really spectacular. We're gonna go up to $500,000 for the winner next year.
All right, guys, don't forget to click that like button and subscribe to this channel if you enjoy the content. Also, check out my Instagram at NICKS&P, my Facebook page, which is simply Nick Strength and Power, my secondary YouTube channel, Nick Strength and Vlogs, for vlogs and bonus content that you will not see on this channel. And consider subscribing to my third YouTube channel, Nick Strength and Pokemon, which is all things Pokemon and trading card games, completely unrelated to this channel. So if you're into that, give that one a look. And all links to merchandise and social media will be in the description box below. If you guys want a Nick Strength and Power t-shirt, that will be in the Shopify link below. Have a great day.